Genesis 4:15, it says, Cain says to God, well, these people are going to want to kill me for what I did to my brother. Now, who are these people? You would say, oh, well, it might have been the other children, like Seth and the other daughters. That can't be the case because Seth and the daughters were born 20, 30 years after the incident with Cain and Abel. So there had to have been a separate family because Cain and Abel were the first two children and they didn't have any other
Yes.
kids for 20, 30 years, which were Seth and the other daughters and sons. So those people had to affirm that God created other people than Adam and Eve.
Okay, but then again, we don't know the ages of Seth and Cain, right? Or do we?
I'm pretty sure it does lay out a timeline. I
Could
don't know
be.
if
I
it
don't
lays
know.
out the exact ages. I can just look it up. Who are you trying to find the ages for?
Cain and Abel. So we know
Okay.
like of the if
Cain
the
and
other
Abel
people existed yet,
in the Bible.
because if they were like 80 or I don't know.
The Bible, Abel or Canaan. No, not Canaan.
Cain.
Cain, yeah, I know. It just corrected to that. Okay, so all it says is Adam was 130 years old when he had his third son, Seth, born because Eve stated that Seth was given replacement for Abel. Uh, Murder that had to occur until a 130-year window. So that's way bigger window. That's a huge window between Cain and Seth. Way bigger. It's giving me 130 years separation. So not even 20 to 30 years, 130 years. Uh, Likely adulthood. Both brothers were old enough to work, maintain their own professions. Cain was a farmer, Abel was a shepherd. So it doesn't give the exact age. But wait.
So
First century text, Pursuta
mm,
Polio, Cain, 15 years old, while the Book of Jubilees details differently about the age. So yeah, there's a pretty big age gap between it. It doesn't give an exact age, but they were in adulthood. But the reason I brought up Genesis 4:15 is just to prove that no, we were not born of incest at all because there were more humans other than Adam and Eve. They were
would
just
you
the first two born.
would you have a problem with like it being incest? Would it be wrong or problematic?
Uh, mm, Let me just say this. Yes. You gotta think with incest, it leads down to many, horrific genetic defects, and incest wasn't even around till a few hundred years later when certain kids would do it with each other or their parents, and then they would get pregnant, and then that happened. God even had a problem with the incest part. There's actually a single verse out there that literally says, a son shall not lie with his mom, which is disgusting that it's even put in there, but that just affirms that hey, there was incest, but not directly at the time of Adam and Eve during that time with Cain and Abel.
Yeah, so like in the Mosaic laws, he stated that like you shouldn't sleep like sons shall not lay with like mothers and daughters not with fathers, something like that, like in Leviticus, I
Yes.
think. But isn't it like banned from that point out?
God, I'm Leviticus, I think, is maybe the first time, but I don't know if it's the actual first time. I think God may prohibited it. I'm not exactly sure. I can just look it up.
Because like Abraham, right? He married his half sister.
So I'm gonna see if it actually has any.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a couple of verses that don't explicitly say it, but affirm it. Like Genesis
Before
2:24.
Leviticus. Okay.
Yeah, Genesis 2:24. God establishes that a man must leave his father and his mother and hold fast with his wife. So that's leaving your parents, so not being with your parents. That's
Okay.
so that's saying that you have to leave your family and start a new family. So that somewhat affirms it, and then it gives me another verse. Genesis 9:20 to 27. This passage describes Noah's son uncovering his father's nakedness, and this idiom is heavily advocated with instuish transgressions, yeah, because they were punished for the iniquity of the father being drunk. Um, and then
Yeah,
there it
but
is,
this is kind of
Genesis,
vague,
yeah,
right?
vague, yeah, like I said. Genesis 19:30 to 38. This text portrays the incestuous relationships between Lot and his daughters. Negatively, it frames the encounter and desperate act of deception rather than synchronized argument. So that is talking about Lot and his daughters and the incest, and God denounces that. Um, incest is explicitly. So yeah, Leviticus has a lot. Genesis to Leviticus outside. Yeah, so what's saying is you must look outside of Genesis to Leviticus 18 and Leviticus 20:11 to 21, and Deuteronomy 27:20 to 23.
Yeah, I like Leviticus 18. There he like really goes into people with like laying with animals and laying with
Mhm.
family members and stuff. Where
Yeah, so you
there
have to look
God is
outside
very
of
clear.
Genesis, is what it's saying. You can't just look inside of Genesis. But there's certain things in Genesis that vaguely and explicitly prohibits, like Lot and his daughters, and it is like
Yeah.
explicit prohibition of incest. And then
Can I
sure.
ask, is that like a Catholic thing that you don't believe that they had incest and stuff?
No, it's just a Christian thing, I would say. But yes, the
No,
Catholic Church.
I
I
really
mean,
think
yes, but
most Christians believe that they had incest at the time.
well, then they're really not knowledgeable and they haven't read the Bible. It's pretty simple. Like the biggest verse that affirms this is Genesis 4:15, 4:14. It explicitly
But it
says that
doesn't.
there's other people. Yes, it does. And who? Okay, tell me, who are the other people?
Um, okay, well, since we don't know the age of Cain and Abel, like we don't know when they were born as well, right? We don't know if they
Um,
were born in the garden or outside the garden.
well, I'm pretty sure there
We
is a
know,
verse, but that doesn't really
yeah.
matter. Just tell me, who are the other people? And
Um,
it, before you
well,
say an
I
answer,
think
I want you to remember that it cannot be the other children of it can't be the other children of Adam because those children, according to the Bible, were 130 years after the incident with Cain and Abel. So it literally cannot be them. That's physically impossible. And it wouldn't have been Adam and Eve because they felt sorrow for Cain and they weren't really angry with him. They're mad that he killed him, but they forgave him. Um, so it literally has to point to that there were other people. And if you say that there wasn't, then you're saying that Cain said this and that God lied because God said, no, these other people will not lay a finger on you. I'll place the mark on the forehead. That'll make sure that they won't. And then Cain goes off doing his own thing. So it literally points to that there's other people other than Adam and Eve.
yes, but then again, you would also say that God is a liar because Eve is mother of all the living, right?
Yes, it's true. But you gotta realize when it says all the living, that's not saying each individual person stems directly to Adam and Eve. What it's saying is explicitly because Adam and Eve's family tree is the biggest. They've had the biggest family tree. And the
Yeah.
family tree is not incest. There's a couple of incest parts within it, but that's pretty rare. It's very uncommon in the family tree, and it points to that there is other people that the children of Adam and Eve went to found other people, then they procreated, had started their family tree, then the other children found other family children, then they procreated once they were in adulthood. So there had to have been other people for this to work. If we take your argument and say, yeah, it was born of incest, then we would all be retarded. We wouldn't even have VR headsets. We would just be like, we wouldn't be doing that. We'll just be slop on the ground. That much incest through that many years, everybody
No,
would be dead.
no, I think God kind of protected the bloodline, something like that. Well,
So then
that's
why would
what I
God
believe.
prohibit incest? Are you
Um,
saying that God changes?
I don't think he changes, but he could have finally made a law. Like he works with like
That's
the
still saying that God changes, because if God allows incest and prohibits incest, that's God changing his rules. God does not change his rules. That's saying that takes away from the all powerful stem from God. So this starts getting somewhat theological, and it goes straight to no, God does not change. So therefore, if God bans incest at all, then there had to have been a law on incest throughout the whole entire Bible, which there is.
Salam alaikum.
Shalom alaikum.
Yo, you're inside of me, my friend.